fresh power struggle has erupted inside the anti-Houthi coalition in Yemen, pitting rival factions against each other even as the broader war with the Houthis remains unresolved and dangerously volatile. The UAE-backed Southern Transitional Council, or STC, on December 26 accused Saudi Arabia of launching airstrikes against its positions, sharply escalating tensions within the coalition that is supposed to be fighting the Houthis. These accusations came just after Saudi Arabia publicly warned the STC to pull its forces out of key governorates it had recently seized, portraying the Separatists' advances as an unacceptable escalation in the south. The Associated Press quoted STC officials as saying that the alleged Saudi strikes targeted their fighters in the eastern parts of Hadramout Governorate, an oil-rich region that has become a focal point of the latest southern offensive. Saudi officials have so far offered no response to these claims and have not confirmed carrying out any air operations, leaving the accusations hanging and adding to the uncertainty on the ground. STC representative for Foreign Affairs Amr al-Beid said the airstrikes came after multiple ambushes on the group's fighters in eastern Hadramout. Incidents, he said, had already killed 2 STC members and wounded a dozen more. Special representative to the Yemeni STC, Amr al-Beid, said, "Our fighters were ambushed repeatedly in eastern Hadramout. After that, the Saudi airstrikes followed. 2 of our men were killed, 12 others wounded. This aggression cannot go unanswered." Local witnesses described the aftermath of the strikes, saying several military vehicles belonging to STC forces lay burned out and twisted along the roadside, stark evidence of how hard their positions were hit. A leading tribal figure in Hadramout said the airstrikes were clearly intended as a warning shot to the STC, signaling that if they refused to withdraw from the contested areas, even stronger military action could follow. The STC's Channel AI broadcast dramatic clips it said showed Saudi warplanes swooping in and striking targets on the ground, using those images to portray its fighters as victims of aggression from a supposed ally. Earlier, Saudi Arabia had publicly warned the Separatists to pull their forces out of the newly captured governorates, calling the STC's unilateral advance an unacceptable escalation that could destabilize the entire front. In recent weeks, STC forces swept into Hadramout and Mahra, seizing key military bases and government sites and pushing out Saudi-backed units that had anchored Riyadh's influence in those eastern regions. Those displaced troops were part of the National Shield Forces, a Saudi-supported formation that is formally within the anti-Houthi coalition, making the STC's move a direct challenge to a fellow partner in the same camp. On paper, both the STC and the National Shield Forces remain allies in the fight against the Iran-backed Houthi rebels, yet on the ground they increasingly look like rival power centers competing for control of southern Yemen. This rapid STC advance has pushed the already fragile coalition to the brink of internal confrontation, raising fears that infighting could erupt just as the war against the Houthis reaches another critical phase. The southern separatists originally joined the Saudi-led alliance that intervened in Yemen in 2015 to fight the Houthis, but over time they have shifted toward pursuing their own project of dominance or autonomy in the south. Now, the United Arab Emirates has publicly welcomed Saudi efforts to support security and stability in Yemen, stressing its commitment to backing every initiative that lowers tensions and preserves order despite the STC's advance. UAE Foreign Ministry in a statement said, "The UAE welcomes Saudi Arabia's efforts to support security and stability in Yemen. We remain firmly committed to all initiatives strengthening peace and development." The latest strikes risk tearing apart the very coalition that has been fighting the Houthi rebels since 2015, opening the door to infighting at the same time as the front against the Houthis remains unresolved and volatile. The war in Yemen has directly killed more than 150,000 people and, through hunger and disease, pushed hundreds of thousands more toward death, leaving the country teetering on the edge of full-scale famine. Despite years of airstrikes and ground battles, Houthi rebels still hold much of northern Yemen, including the capital Sana'a, entrenching their power even as the rest of the country fragments around them. Iran continues to deny that it arms the Houthis, yet UN experts and Western officials have documented Iranian-made weapons and missile components in Yemen, evidence that appears to violate the UN arms embargo. Regional analysts warn that a deepening rift between Saudi Arabia and the UAE over Yemen could weaken their shared front and inadvertently widen Iran's influence, not just in Yemen but across the broader Middle East.